So the story I'm about to share with you is super cool, not only because it's a story of manifestation, but because it also incorporates creativity and art into this delightful, all expense paid trip to New York City. So did I manifest it through art? You let me know in the comments once we get through this video. But first, hi, my name is Mandy. Welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk about art, creativity, growth, a little bit of healing, spirituality, and pretty much this channel is just for truth seekers, people that want to live a brave, courageous life and to just like go for their goals and toward their dreams. So if that sounds like you, follow along, but let's just get into the story because it's a good one. Okay, so I was just recently divorced the year before and I was living in a one-bedroom apartment and I was broke, broke, had the lights turned off, broke, could not afford any furniture. I pretty much just used my little baby dining room space and living room space as my own personal dance studio and art studio. And God bless it, because it got me through some hard times. But something I'd always thought would be fun was to buy a bunch of canvases and take some bold colors and just, move paint around and just kind of see what came out and express myself and emote. And I just thought that would always be really fun. But those classes aren't out there. It's always paint these watercolor birds or stamp leaves into a page, whatever. It's, very delightful, all super fun hobby stuff. But that's just not what I wanted. But I'm a bit of a risk taker in life. And I will, if I feel called to something, I will absolutely invest in that over being responsible or reasonable. So I actually did invest in a bunch of acrylic paint and canvases and a tarp, and I had that, going, and I just painted all year, and my daughter painted, and it was the best. It was so fun, and I only wish I had done it sooner. So the painting part was great. My life was not. At the time, I was working as a server, the lunch shift. And if you've ever worked in the food industry, you'll know the lunch shift is the worst shift. But it's the only thing that I could do. All of my whole career had been in the food industry, working my way up into management. But I couldn't work nights and weekends because, I had to fit in with my daughter's daycare schedule. I had to fit in with my ex-husband's custody schedule. And it was just really, really, really bad. And in North Carolina, you make $2.36 an hour, which is just inhumane. And there were so many days that I would pay more in parking than what I made in a day. And so even though I was working 40 hours a week, I think I made $4,000 in 6 months. It was so bad. And I just want to say that because anytime in my life I've ever manifested anything that has been significant or out of the woodwork or just amazing, it has always been when I have had nothing. And I have been super broke. And I want to say that because anybody that's watching this that feels that way, you need to know that things can change in an instant and little miracles happen all the time. And I think they actually even happen more when you're down and out than when you're not. But I digress. So super, super broke. I'm behind on rent. I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm just remembering when I had money. I think it was raining that night and I was God, I would kill for a trip to New York City. Christmas was right around the corner and I just wanted so badly to be in that romantic New York City fall Christmas vibes of When Harry Met Sally and You've Got Mail and Serendipity and all these movies and just cheesing out on the romanticism of I just want to be rich in New York and drink lattes. Back in the day when I worked as a general manager at Magnolia Bakery, they had flown us out to New York to be able to see how their New York City shops were working. And I actually got to go to the cafe coffee shop from You've Got Mail, I believe, where she's got the rose and it's just so romantic and the pastries look amazing. And so I got to go and I'm just that was such a great trip. I just want to be there. And I was just you know what? I'm just going to paint those vibes, man. And I turned on some YouTube cafe coffee shop. Probably the worst jazz imaginable, but I turned that on and I was just yeah. And I think I was painting some fall leaves and just, not a great painting, but whatever. I was just having fun. And I was just channeling my inner Jessica Stein. If anybody's ever seen Kissing Jessica Stein, just I'm in New York City in my loft and I paint and just having, a really wonderful night. And I felt really good by the end of it. Well, I'm looking for jobs because I don't know what's going to happen. And a friend has offered me a room in California. She has a condo and, you can stay here with me for free, which just to get on your feet financially, which is just like amazing, right? So I'm looking in North Carolina, I'm looking in LA, I'm like, hell, I'm looking everywhere. But I get a call 3 weeks later from this job. It's a bagel shop based in Los Angeles. And they're like, it was so funny because the HR kid, he must have been like 18. I don't know, like straight out of, like fresh out of school. And he was just like, oh my gosh, I just got your resume. Like, you're it. Like, you're who we've been looking for. And you're, all your, 20 years experience. Like, this is exactly what we're looking for. I can't wait to talk to the owner. And in the meantime, like, I've been listening to all this relationship advice, having just gone through a divorce and other stuff. And I'm like, this is a huge red flag. Like, I am being love bombed. But at the same time, I was also like, you know what? It feels kind of nice to have somebody like chasing after me after, going through the humiliation of being a lunch server and not making any money. So I just kind of went with it and I was like, yeah. And like the money was really good. It was in Los Angeles. And I talked to the owner. I get like a second interview and the owner's much more down to earth. But he's like, yeah, so, we'd really like to fly you to New York City because that's where, our first store was and you can kind of see how everything goes. And I was like, yes. And they're like, or we could train you in LA. And I was like, no, motherfucker, like I'm going to New York. And I just knew. I was just like, oh my God, like a trip to New York City. Like, yes, like anytime to travel. I don't care. Like if we're blessing a newborn octopus, like travel, I'm there. So I do end up going and the job itself is a complete shit show. I got there to the hotel and they had I was supposed to be booked for 2 nights and they had accidentally booked me for 1, or they canceled the reservation or something, where they're like, well, can you just pay for the second night and we'll reimburse you? You guys, I had I didn't have any money. And so I was just like, it really kind of needs to happen. I think they ended up paying for that. But I get into my hotel that night and downstairs, and it's in Times Square. I mean, like, it's the most touristy part of New York, but it's also the most touristy part of New York. Downstairs from my hotel room is, I believe it's called Angelina's or Angelino's Bakery. And you guys, I'm gonna put some pictures up, but like these giant friggin' puffs of like donut pastry, which is like so up my alley as a baker. And I got free pizza. Like I was like, 2 pieces or 3 pieces? And I was like, 2 pieces. And he's like, 3 pieces? And I was like, 2 pieces. And he's like, 3 pieces. And he puts, all the pizza in the bag. And I'm like, I don't have like a lot of money here. And he only charged me for 2. So I got 3 slices. Did I need 3 slices of pizza? No, especially not with my box of pastries. But it would just kind of felt like a kiss from the universe of like, we got you, girl. And I get back upstairs and I'm eating it. And it's just like, I'm in my glory. I'm so freaking happy. I'm in New York City. Like, this is amazing. I go to my job the next day and it is so horrible. It was a gluten-free bagel place. And I've boiled bagels before, like for 4 years straight. But we did it in like small pots, and this was like a bagel emporium. And the girl was so mean to me. She was just like, she just decided like I didn't know how to boil bagels because I'd never done it like they had done it. And I'm like, no, I've never done it on a mass scale. Like, did you read my resume? But like, we would do like 100 bagels a day. I don't know. Just teach me how to friggin' do it. There was so much miscommunication about stuff like that I could have been prepared for that they didn't tell me. And it's like, well, why are you mad when you didn't even tell me? Like, just so much miscommunication. We just like did not. And I could just tell like from the start, it was just bad news bears all around. So after the second day, I know it's not going well. I know like I'm not getting this job and I do not want this job because there's like red flags everywhere. I have no idea what's going on. Like, I was supposed to say Saturday and Sunday, but I guess Sunday was a Jewish holiday. So they're like, yeah, I guess, you can just like hang out until your flight. And I was like, yes, like I was so excited. Being in New York City, it was just like, amazing. And it was raining, which was even more like romantic to me. And so, fuck, I love New York City. And after the shit show of Saturday, I walked around and like, I just kind of like walked around the area because it's like a really nice part of New York, not the Times Square part per se, but they were in the West End, I believe. And so I'm just like walking around and I'm dreaming of like, you know, strangers in the murders in the building. And I'm like, is Selena Gomez here? Like, you know, and I'm just like having the time of my life. So I got up early because they're like, you know, just swing by if you want. And I was like, okay. So I got up early, just started walking around, and I happened upon a park there that has also been in TV shows and movies, and was more exciting for me because I had just finished watching that Dan Levy's brunch show on HBO. And there was a woman there, I can't remember anybody's names now, who was like the scone lady. And she was like, I have world famous scones. I'm based out of New York. And this park happened to have some of her scones. They didn't have her scones, but they did have her banana bread. So I got to try her world famous banana bread. It just seemed like all of these synchronicities, like all of these things that I wanted out of this trip. It's like I just happened upon this beautiful little park, oogling this lady's, you know, pastries, and here they are right in front of my eyes. And I go to where I'm supposed to go, and I just kind of like, nobody even, they weren't expecting me. There was a long line out the door. Nobody knew I was there. Nobody knew I left. It was so stupid. It was so crazy. But I'm like, well, shit, I have to be out of my hotel at like noon. And so I grabbed my bag, and I have like 4 hours to kill. Like, I think I had to leave at like 4 or 5 or something. You guys, I have to be honest. The first thing I thought of when I heard New York City was Cornelia Street. And if you're a Taylor Swift fan, like, you know, and I was just like, I wonder, like, do I have time for this? How far is it? And so I just Googled it, and I can't remember, but I was like, I can do that in a couple hours for sure. And so I booked it with my friggin' suitcase in hand all the way to Taylor Swift's house when she used to live on Cornelia Street. And it was amazing. And I was just like, what is today? Like, what is happening? And there were other people there taking pictures, other Taylor Swift fans, and we were all so excited together. It was like ridiculous. And it was amazing. And on the way, on the way, I also happened upon the Sex and the City house, the brownstone, Sarah Jessica Parker's place. And I was just like, oh my God, this is like, it was like magical New York City moment after magical New York City moment. Just the perfect couple of days. And when I got to the airport, they're like paging Amanda Smith, and they're like, yeah, so you only have one part of your flight. The other part's been canceled. And I was like, excuse me? Like, what? And somehow they accidentally, these yahoos I'd been interviewing with, canceled the second half of my flight. And so I'm trying to like, and she's like, well, there's one more seat on an outgoing flight. We can get you on it, but you have to pay for it. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have any money, lady. And I cannot contact anybody. I can't get through to the owner because it's a Jewish holiday. I can't, like, finally, the girl who was a bitch to me, she texted me back. It's like, oh my gosh, like, let me try and get a hold of the owner. And like, she did, and it all worked out. I did have to pay for the airline, I think. Yes, I did, because they ended up reimbursing me. And I was like, at this point, there were so many red flags. I was like this, you need to, like, I was very adamant with the owner. I was like, you need to pay me back. This is the second time this has happened. Like, there's been so much miscommunication. Like, this is not okay. And he was like, I promise. And he did. But it was crazy. And I didn't care because I was so goddamn happy because I manifested this trip to New York. Now, you guys, I really feel like, I remember being in New York City and being like, this is everything I wanted that night. And I was like, I friggin' brought this about. My little witchy, whimsical self of just being in the zone. I was super in the zone of imagining myself there. And I had the, tea with me, and I had, like, I was in that vibe. And I really feel like I manifested it that night. I even painted like fall leaves and like rain and like it just like all aligned. So what do you think? Like, did I manifest it, or is this just kind of like some luck? Because that job did not work out, let me tell you. But that trip to New York City did. Anybody struggling right now, you guys, get into your good vibes, because you don't know what you can manifest. And this is like, I have other manifestation stories too. This is just one. But it's truly amazing how friggin' magical we are. Fun fact, on that trip, I got a call from my landlord saying that I had to get out. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I'm in New York City. Like I can't, like my cat is there. Like I can't, like what? And they're like, okay, you have 2 days. And I was like, 2 days? But they gave me 2 days and I had to get out of that apartment in 2 days all by myself, all, you know, the stuff that I did have. And that part was not fun. And it's just like life circumstances cannot be good, but you can still be super, super blessed. And you just really have to be in gratitude for like, when the universe is like, we know it's shit right now. So here's like this beautiful blessing. And it was amazing. Full disclosure, you guys, I have never tried this again. Why? And that's because immediately after this, I did end up moving to California to live with my friend. And she has a beautiful condo, but there was no way, you know, I was gonna be able to roll out a tarp and like splatter or like have a painting out for like a day, like overnight, like no. So I didn't paint for like a year and a half, and I've only just kind of started since I've been back in North Carolina. Why am I not doing that? You guys, let's do this. Like, where are we going? Are we going to listen to like some, you know, Vienna, you know, classical music? Are we going to listen to some, like, where do you want to go? What do you want to experience? Let's do this together. Where are we going? Let me know in the comments. So what do you think? Like, did I manifest that? Is that just like some crazy synchronicity? Because I swear to God, it was like everything I wanted that trip to be. All right, let me know in the comments where we're going, and I'm gonna start doing this. Let's see if we can manifest something. Let's do it. All right, thanks so much, you guys, for being here. I will see you next time. Bye.